Have you ever felt like the weight of the world was on your shoulders? Like you couldn't tell anyone how heavy that burden is? Mental health struggles are incredibly common, but in Black and brown communities, they're often shrouded in shame and silence. Why is there such a stigma, and how can we change this narrative? In the heart of every community, there lies a story guised as a narrative woven with traditions, beliefs, and struggles. Amidst the vibrant tapestry of cultures, there exists a shadowy veil, which is a stigma that shrouds the discourse on mental health, particularly within the Black and brown community. So, today let's discuss this topic, which is undoubtedly very important, yet often overlooked: the stigma of mental health in the Black and brown communities. Mental health is a critical part of our overall well-being, yet for many in the Black and brown communities, it's a subject shrouded in silence and stigma guise. Before going on, first of all, you might be wondering, what is stigma? Well, the answer to that is stigma can be said as a negative attitude or belief that leads to discrimination, prejudice, and shame. Stigma can make people feel isolated, judged, and unworthy of help. Stigma can also prevent people from seeking or receiving the mental health care they need. Hope it's clear now. Now, you will be shocked to know that according to the World Health Organization, 1 in 4 people will struggle with a mental illness at some point during their lives, as also mentioned in the official report by dwarpec.bus.edu. Moreover, innercitabliss.org also claimed that a study by the National Institutes of Health found that nearly 30% of African Americans suffer from some form of mental illness. This is compared to 20% of white Americans. What's more, Black and brown people are more likely to experience certain types of mental illness. For example, African Americans are twice as likely as white Americans to suffer from depression. They are also more likely to experience anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, and bipolar disorder. Isn't it alarming, guys? Yes, you heard it right. It is very much disturbing. Now, coming towards our basic question, why is there a stigma of mental health in the Black and brown community? Well, sadly there can be many factors that contribute to this stigma, such as historical trauma and oppression. People of color have experienced centuries of racism, violence, and injustice that have impacted their mental health and well-being. Some of the examples are slavery, colonization, genocide, segregation, and police brutality. These traumas have been passed down through generations. Another important aspect is cultural norms and values, fellas. Many Black and brown cultures value strength, resilience, and self-reliance. They may see mental illness as a sign of weakness, a personal flaw, or a lack of faith. Lack of access and resources cannot be ignored as well. People of color face many barriers to accessing quality and affordable mental health care, such as poverty, lack of insurance, language barriers, transportation issues, and cultural incompetence. They may also have difficulty finding providers who look like them, understand their culture, and respect their preferences. And not to forget the internalized stigma. People of color may internalize the negative messages and stereotypes that they hear from society, the media, or even their own families and communities. They may feel ashamed, guilty, or hopeless about their mental health condition. We all might be looking for the actual solution to mitigate this, and how can we challenge and overcome the stigma of mental health in the Black and brown community? There are many ways that we can reduce and eliminate the stigma of mental health in our communities, like educating ourselves and others. We can learn more about mental health, mental illness, and mental health care. We can also educate our families, friends, and communities about the facts and myths of mental health. By sharing our stories and experiences, and listening to others with empathy and compassion, We can also challenge the stereotypes and misinformation that we encounter in the society and the media. Seeking help and support can also be a solution. We can recognize and acknowledge when we or someone we care about is struggling with mental health issues. We can seek help from professionals, peers, or support groups that are culturally appropriate and responsive. We can also explore different types of therapies, treatments, and strategies that suit our needs and preferences. Advocating for change? Yes, you heard it right, fellas. We can speak up and demand better mental health services and policies for our communities. We can also join or create movements and organizations that promote mental health awareness, equity, and justice. We can also use our voices and platforms to raise awareness and inspire action on the issues that affect our mental health, such as racism, poverty, violence, and oppression. But where did this originate? Mental health stigma, in many respects, can trace its roots back to cultural, historical, and socioeconomic factors that have influenced the Black and Brown communities for generations. Due to a lack of resources in health, educational, social, and economic spheres, and ongoing negative attitudes and beliefs, these disparities can contribute to worse mental health outcomes in these communities. Surprisingly, many in the Black and Brown communities have traditionally turned to the church as a sanctuary and source of solace for all types of suffering, including mental health issues. The church has been a cornerstone of community life, a place of trust, and a critical support system. In many underserved communities, access to mental health resources remains scarce as a stark reminder of systemic inequalities. According to the official reports by most authentic and viable resources in media, health, and organizations, studies reveal that only 1 in 3 Black or Hispanic adults who need mental health care receive it, compared to almost half of white adults. It's crucial to acknowledge the cultural nuances that shape our perceptions of mental health. We must create safe spaces within our communities for open dialogue and support. As we navigate the complexities of mental health in the Black and Brown community, let us remember that our voices have the power to break the silence, dismantle stigma, and pave the path to healing. Indeed, the stigma of mental health in the Black and Brown community is a serious and complex problem that requires collective and individual efforts to solve. By breaking the silence, seeking help, and supporting each other, we can surely create a culture of acceptance, healing, and empowerment for ourselves and our communities. In conclusion, understanding the stigma of mental health in the Black and Brown communities is a complex issue, rooted in history, affected by socioeconomic factors, and compounded by internalized beliefs about strength and resilience. But together, by recognizing the need for compassion, increasing access to resources, and continuing the dialogue, we can start to break down the walls of stigma and build a healthier, more supportive community. Remember, your mental health is just as important as your physical health. By breaking down the stigma, we can create a world where everyone feels empowered to seek the support they deserve. Together, we can rewrite the narrative and foster a culture of compassion and understanding. Thank you for watching this video, and hope you found it informative and helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more interesting and amazing videos. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please leave them in the comment section below. We'd love to hear from you. Take care of yourself and each other. Stay blessed, stay united.